This is the ballad of a guy named Jackalope Jim. He was the West's quickest draw, and no one could beat him. At the tender age of 10, he lost his mom and pop. So with a gifted metal arm, became a man of law.
Hey everybody, this is Russ the Big Guy, and welcome to the birth of Jackalope Junction. This is Jackalope Junction Television, and today I have Greg Shumsky with me, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer, the brainiac behind Jackalope Junction Storypark, and also Acorn Entertainment Group. It's a transmedia conglomerate of creative people doing awesome things, and one of the things that we're working on is bringing you stories about the different characters who are all part of the family that live at Jackalope Junction, the townspeople, the citizens. And today we're going to be talking about Shotgun Sally. This is episode 10, by the way. Shotgun Sally. So, Greg.
Russell, take two.
Busy. I haven't
been on the ball today. Happened? What just happened?
I've messed up a couple times today, but I'm glad that you're all warmed up now. So let's tell.
Now I can get my story straight. Yeah, right.
About Shotgun Sally.
So much for the rehearsal.
Here's one of the things I did forget until you mentioned that Shotgun Sally is a raccoon, which I had completely forgotten about.
Oh yeah.
So what before you give Shotgun Sally's background, was there a reason why you chose raccoon?
No, I had really at first I looked at a red panda, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And I thought that's interesting. And I thought, well, what's more country-ish?
Yeah.
I thought, well, or more Western. I thought a raccoon.
Interesting.
So, and raccoons can be tough.
Yeah, they are tough. But they get into everything too. Like,
well, they can be really sweet too. I mean, but their little hands and stuff.
Yeah.
And they can be really sweet.
Is she a little bit disheveled?
Yes. Yeah, a little bit. So the idea behind Shotgun Sally was I wanted to have a kind of a strong female type lead character for this when I was developing characters, and she came to mind. I thought, first we're going to name her after Calamity Jane or something like that. I was looking at different female characters of the Old West, Calamity Jane and whatnot, and I thought, well, that's interesting, but I started looking at what they wore and stuff like that. I thought, well, I want her to. I think she looked kind of cool if she was wearing a wedding dress with boots and a hat. But why is she wearing a wedding dress?
I love the visual. Yeah.
Yeah. And originally the idea was that she was left at the altar by her, her fiance. He just up and skipped town. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. And then it came about more or less. I thought, well, that's not so bad, but what's even more interesting? And when I started working on this story, the mine caves and the loss of so many people, I thought, oh, she wasn't left at the altar on purpose. Her fiance, the love of her life since childhood and grew up with, was betrothed to marry as a young teenager, basically. And back then they got married when they were 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah.
It was the day before their wedding, and she was trying on her wedding dress, and he was working in the mines, and that's when the huge mine cave accident happened, and he was lost along with 12 other people, and that just devastated her. And she decided to continue to wear the dress as both a in memory of him, and to show that she loved him still for her love for him, and she just psychologically couldn't get past it anyway. So she shut down, wore it all the time. She was a mess for quite a while. And then the town was abandoned by most people except for a handful of folks. So she decided to stay behind, obviously, and she couldn't leave her fiance behind, even though he was long gone and dead by this point. As far as we know, I mean, we don't know what happened to him. Well, I know what happened to him, but we don't know what happened to him.
Gotcha.
And there's that wink. And so she picks up the shotgun because the town is now being threatened at times by ruffians and passerby and all sorts of bad elements. So her and Sergeant Squirrel and a couple others take up arms and protect the town. So she learns how to use a shotgun and gets pretty darn good with it. And then it's so many years later now, 20 years. So she's like 13 at the time, and 20 years later now she's 33, and along comes this jackrabbit with horns on his head, aka Jackalope Jim, and checks out the town, and they all kind of, it's nighttime when he gets there, and or it's daytime or late afternoon, and everybody's kind of not out and about in the town, and he thinks it's a ghost town, which it is to a point. And he eventually meets her. They meet each other, but she's very standoffish. She doesn't want to give up her fire or whatever for her fiance, and but she eventually becomes the love interest of Jackalope Jim. They start to kind of warm up to each other. She starts to warm up to him. He's not looking for love and stuff like that either, but they start to kind of get along and become friends, and then maybe something more happens. We don't know, at least not yet. So that's her in a nutshell. She's a godly woman. She's I based her very much off of the Proverbs 31 woman, which is you have to look that up for those who don't know it. Google it or look it up. It's about what a woman should be, and that pretty much is what she is. Although she's strong, and yet at the same time she's still guarded to a point. And she's the sister. There's some bad blood in her family because her older brother is the head of the Slippery Slope gang. So there, you got that going on with you. So there's always.
So she may have. She has the desire to be sort of a protectorate of the town, her home, and at the same time, she's dealing with maybe the fact that she has to somehow prove herself, also because her brother is the head of the Slippery Slope gang.
Sure, right.
So
and
there's added pressure there.
Well, and and he's a bad guy, and she's not, and she's not happy with what he became when he ran off to live a life of crime, and but she has him by his ear when he shows up. She is able to cause him to be not a better person, but
we got to think of those family dynamics. We might know a family, or maybe there's the black sheep of the family, or maybe some of the members of the family aren't living up to expectations of everybody else, and so there's that conflict within the family. Those pressures and expectations and unmet expectations, and maybe some embarrassment, and it's
right. And I started looking at, besides these characters that were I looked at modern day characters that I was that I think she leans towards being. So I was watching the Mandalorian season 1 or whatever it was, and I really liked Gina Carano's character in there, and I liked Gina Carano and who she is as a person. So Gina Carano, if you're listening to this, you're pretty awesome. And so I decided to kind of model her a little bit after her as well, from her look. So she's got the little, she's got the little mole, and but she's an interesting character, and there's more to develop to her. There's lots of room to develop her because, and the same with all the characters. But she's kind of a help to the Gerties who own the general store, which we'll talk about later. And she's kind of the guard of the town. And now, so when Jackalope Jim shows up and they rebuild the town, and he's looking for deputies, he offers her the role of a deputy, but she doesn't take it because she just doesn't want that kind of responsibility. But she does show up when things get going.
She's there to back him up.
When trouble shows up, she's there to
extra
kind of like Doc Holliday a little bit.
I was gonna say that, but he was kind of more really supporting Wyatt Earp as opposed to the
Well, right, yeah.
town, right? But so
Yeah, well, Doc Holliday wasn't deputized as a marshal or anything
right.
or a lawman, but he was there to support. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's how she is too. That's kind of her role. She's when the going gets tough, she gets involved, right?
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
she's there as a backup, ready to go at any moment's notice. So
Well, I love the visual of the wedding dress and the shotgun, and one's first impression might be, well, it's she has a shotgun because she's trying to catch herself a man. So I think it's a nice, for me, I like the juxtaposition of that sort of personality with what she really is, like
yeah,
that perception of maybe that's who she is, but then when when visitors to Jackalope Junction actually meet Shotgun Sally and or hear about her from other citizens of the town, they'll find
right.
out she's a much more nuanced, and there's a lot more levels to her personality and her history and things, rather than just
Yeah.
the kind of stereotype of what you might think of, like
Well,
the jilted bride out to get her husband back, or her
yeah,
getting
or just
just to
shooting
create, like the psycho lady who bought herself the dress and then she's out hunting for a guy or something like that.
right that
So I
or
like this character. I like the Shotgun Sally character a lot.
thanks. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
She's gonna be a lot of fun to work with, and as the other characters, and I just think it's really going to be a lot of fun to see her on TV and in the park, and
Yeah.
if we do comic books and stuff, there's a lot of room. There's even room maybe for a whole book about Shotgun Sally if we really wanted to. That
Yeah, absolutely.
I really want to. I wanted to create characters like her because I wanted to have a character. I want to have characters that speak to a wide audience,
Yeah.
and it affects guys from a certain point, and it affects young women from a certain point, and
Sure.
it's really about teaching people without being, educational or being preachy,
Right.
but teaching people about what it means to have good morals and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and to stand up for your rights and to stand up for yourself when
Right.
things go bad and not give up so easily. That's the biggest problem we have is people these days tend to just give up too easily, I think.
Yeah. 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 They don't
She could have taken on it just like Jim and Molly, they could have taken on the mantle of victimhood,
yeah.
but instead decided to pick themselves up by the bootstraps per se and whoops.
Well, one of the things that jumped out to me as I was thinking about Shotgun Sally is the word one, which is the list of values that Acorn Entertainment Group has. The values, it's accountable or accountability, courage, one, respect, and neighborly. And the one is kind of really, I think, kind of describes her. So the way we have it written is one for all. We support people's rights and freedoms, and that is exactly what she is doing. And then at the same time, one of many. So each of us is a part of a bigger team, and we're humble and share our successes. And so she's not one to go around bragging. She has a good heart. She's a good person. And then she's there for everybody. She's there for the town. She's even there for her brother, who's a ne'er-do-well, which really says a lot about what that personality can be, right? And what kind of a heart she would have.
Sure. Yeah, she's kind of loosely based on some people I grew up with and have known in my life. Everybody in the town is,
Yeah.
and the story is based on that. And you think about she's kind of somewhat, there's a little bit of me in her as obviously. So,
Right.
yeah, it's interesting. And maybe the next episode we'll talk about the values and stuff. I think that's kind of a fun thing to delve into.
Sure.
But yeah, she's I think people get a real kick out of her. She's I think she's gonna be a very strong character that a lot of people can look up to and want to be like. And that's what I want the characters to be, is these people, even though they're not people, that
Right. Yeah.
that
They're
everyone can relate
relatable.
to.
They're
Yeah, and can relate
relatable.
to, and
Yeah.
aspire to be more like. That's the whole
Yeah.
dealio.
Yep. And I think young people and even adults also will learn a lot from the characters as they interact with them in the
Yeah.
park and through some of the other
Through
mediums.
the TV show, yep, and through the park
Be
and
great.
everything. Yeah, right, exactly.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 10. That was all about Shotgun Sally. Thanks, Greg, for enlightening us. Can't wait to see Shotgun Sally wandering around the town with her shotgun that's going to shoot bubbles or something. I don't know what.
Oh no, it shoots bolts of energy. So all the guns
Oh, that's
and
right.
yeah. So
Got
that's
the
another
gems
cool
in that
thing.
one. Okay.
Yeah, so all the weaponry uses these uses the gems from the mines to that create
Right.
bursts of energies like blasters, more or less.
Yeah, we'll have to do an episode on the gems too, because there are quite a few of them used for many different things. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's
yep,
we'll have gunfights and stuff, but not with bullets, but
sure.
with energy blasts, just like Star Wars and stuff like that. I mean,
Can't wait to see it.
it's still action and adventure, right?
Yeah, I'm working on my character. I'm planning on being one
Bubbles.
of the human citizens of the town who comes to visit once in a while.
I think you'll be the
I have my hat.
wise traveling salesman
Yeah, I was thinking something like that might be kind of fun. Just
with the
kind of
top hat. The wise traveling salesman with the top hat and the and
wax the mustache.
the mustache and
Yep.
the tailcoat, and
Oh, I like it.
the
Okay.
coattails and
Very good.
all fancy, almost kind of Willy Wonka-ish.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And
good.
you could be out there selling. Come up in your cool steampunk wagon selling. You could be the puppet show guy. You could be the guy that does puppet shows.
I can do what?
Well, we have a cart for puppet shows.
Can I
And
heckle the? Can I heckle the puppet guy?
yeah,
Can I just heckle people?
You are the
Oh.
puppet guy. You are the puppet show. You're the puppet master.
Oh God.
And then kids can make puppets. So we're gonna have a cart where it rolls up. You do puppet shows, and then kids can go around the back, and they can on the side they can make their own puppets and take home with them.
I have a feeling I'm going to be
So
stuck
we're
in
gonna
the
do a lot of fun
office.
crafts, huh?
I have a feeling I'm going to be stuck in the office, but
Well, we'll have you come out once in a while doing something fun. You can have
that's
fun
right.
with it.
That's right. Managed by walking around. Okay. We'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so that's the end of episode 10 for real this time. We're going long, so that's it. Greg, thanks a lot.
Sir.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Russ.
Next, do we know what episode 11 is going to be yet? Have you decided?
The Gerties.
Oh, you're ready for that. Okay.
No, I'm not, but we'll talk about them.
All right. All right.
Make
This
sure
is
you
Russ
have your-
signing off.
Good
Say goodnight,
season,
Greg.
Bye-bye. Good night, Greg.